Obi-Doo is everyone's famous, fabulous, and favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. But I'm also into L3, which is low light level videography and photography. And in regards to that, I bought the SIOnyx Aurora, which is a low light level video and movie and still taking device. What's its claim to fame? 720 video and 1 megapixel still. So, you know, but it'll capture the Milky Way. You can capture meteors with it and satellites. Oh, under normal lighting conditions, say like with street lamps or cityscapes or under moonlit conditions, full moonlit conditions, you can actually see stuff on the ground. And they're dirt cheap compared to like the night vision goggles the military uses, which is that Gen 2 and Gen 3 business. And it uses some sort of amplifying tube. These are dirt cheap. This one I think I paid less than $400 for. This is the original one. It was a little pricey in its day. This is the green one. This is the black one. They have a white version, which was a lot cheaper because, believe it or not, this is waterproof to like 5 feet. It's shock resistant. You can mount it like on a shotgun or some sort of rifle, and you could shoot all day with it, and it's shock resistant to that extent. How about that? But I didn't buy it for that. I did it to do nighttime studies of the nighttime sky, ostensibly to do meteors and to look for UFOs. You say, what's a UFO? UFO is unidentified flying object. Or they call them UAPs now, unidentified aerial phenomena. But I like to say UFO better. So in that respect, it's a really cool device. It has a 16 millimeter f1.4 maximum aperture. You see, that's at the night. You see, night, twilight is f2, right? And then for daylight photography, it goes to f5.6. And there's like what it does is there's a infrared blocking filter in it. And during day and twilight, and you remove to night, then it flips the infrared blocking filter out. So it does collect visible light, but at low light, it even collects infrared, which is interesting. That means it will see things that you can't see. And I'm going to come to that in a moment. So it's a very narrow field of view, 16 millimeters. So if you're pointing at it, it could get between Taurus and the Pleiades, let's say, right? And that's a very narrow piece of sky. So meteors could shoot all around it and you wouldn't see it. So from my regular DV days, that's digital video days, I bought this cokin digital wide lens. I think that means it increases the field of view by 50%. And 37 millimeters, I think, is the adapter ring, right? So a guy at work, he had a 3D printer, and I gave him some dimensions, and he made this ring. And all I did is I just screwed it in, because it's only PETG plastic, I believe, right? And so it fits really nice. He did a good job. I gave him $10. And that's it. It just pops on like that and increases your field of view. Now, I bought this many years ago. It was made for DV video. DV video was only 480 video, right? So it didn't have to have that great resolution. And what happens is in the corners of the frame of the 720 video, you can see that all the stars have suffer from coma. Well, be that as it may, stars remain stationary, but I want to see things that are moving by, like meteors or maybe UFOs or UFOs. So it does work. It makes a big difference to the amount of meteors you can catch. Yeah, it's nice to catch fireballs, but you gotta stay at it every day. The best time to look for meteors is early in the morning, right before twilight, where it's still dark out. That means in the summer, you gotta get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's where you see all sorts of weird, interesting stuff. So I bought another one because the prices came down a lot. This is the original one. The green one was the original one. Then it came out with this one. And it came with a clam case and everything. It was really cool. Clamshell case. Oh, here, let me show you something. You gotta pull this lever up, and this is the electronic viewfinder. There's the battery here. This is a aftermarket battery, but it's a Fuji battery, right? So put that back in there. Micro SD card goes right there. That's pretty much it. In movie mode, you could select the frame rate, 60, 30, 15, or 7.5. If you want to see as deep as you can get at the nighttime sky, you put it on 7.5 and you can see the Milky Way and all that good stuff. What have I discovered from using this? Well, it's hard to catch meteors, even during meteor showers. You know, there's this guy, Randall Carlson's, talking about meteors hitting the Earth, or asteroids hit the Earth, and about these historic accounts of meteors. And well, we're lucky we don't see them, because this is my on scientific study of the night sky. In 5 years, I set up some other camera, and I only recorded 3 fireballs in 5 years. That's not the whole sky, but in the area of sky I was looking at, okay? So those other cameras were doing time-lapse, but they were also doing long exposure. So the exposures were from 3 to 5 seconds long, and the time-lapse is also every 5 seconds, whereas these are doing it in real time. So you could, on the other cameras, a meteor would just be a streak on one frame, and that's it. Depending if it was a big meteor and left a trail, maybe it'd be a couple frames. But this thing captures real live video. Even 7.5 frames a second is still considered live video. So what I do is I point this camera, say I point this camera over here, I point this camera over here, or maybe like that, right? So I get cover a larger swath of sky, and this way you could more likely see interesting stuff that's would be out of the field of view. This camera I usually point at the North Pole. In my front yard, I have a very clear view of the North Polar regions that happens of the sky. It happens to be dark in our area because I'm in the northwest New Jersey, and if I look north, there's not too much built up there, so the sky is very dark. As opposed, if I look east, New York City is in the east, I get a lot of sky glow. I could look straight up, or I could look west, although I'm starting to see sky glow in the west now. Okay, so let's look at this one. It's got the same lens. The same lens for the device. This thing is the SIOnyx DCR high definition wide angle conversion lens 0.7x. Look how big. That's a big mother piece of glass. And you know what? The stars say point images across the whole field of view. And they cost about the same. Maybe I paid $20 for this, and that was, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I paid $20 for this, and very recently. So I don't know what to say. So let's look at this. This is still pictures, this is movies, this is movie loop, playback, and this is for doing setups, right? It has electronic image stabilization. Of course, I would shut that off. It's on a tripod. It has Wi-Fi, but I shut that off because it drains batteries. It has GPS, but I shut that off because it drains batteries. And you can't put a timestamp on anything, so it's a joke. What good is GPS if you can't put a timestamp on it? This is stop and start. You take a picture, stop and start a movie. If you're in a still or movie mode, this is a digital magnification. I always go up one click because they have vignettes in the corners, and that gets rid of some vignetting, and it's still wide angle. Of course, imagine you had to do that with the normal lens, and then it'd be even more tunnel looking. this way, what does this way do? Oh, this helps you set stuff, right? You can set stuff and select certain options from here. So it's small, it's lightweight. The batteries do last, I guess you could get 2 hours out of a battery run. And of course, the batteries are still available. It, like I said, takes micro SD cards. I think I have 64s in there right now. This is for my tripod. This is the quick release head here. That's pretty much it. But what I want to say is I was always pointing towards the North Pole because I only had one camera. But when I got 2 cameras, I was maybe pointing this one towards the northeast. And I was noticing at the North Pole, I was seeing lots and lots of small, dim, moving lights crisscrossing the sky. Sometimes they would come in pairs or one right after another. So they would crisscross each other. Some would go this way, that way. The movie, this 15-minute or so movie that I'm going to present you with is going to show these. These little lights are just at the detectability of this sensor, right? A moving dot. You could see it. Even if I took out binoculars and look at them, they still look like moving dots. Often if you have a pair of 10 or 20 power binoculars and a high-flying plane, you can still see the red and green lights flashing. But no, these are just dots. What does lights do? Sometimes they get bright and dim, or they magically appear and disappear. They always go in a straight line, right? They never stop and go at a right angle. That would probably mean a UFO. Shooting stars or meat eaters, they go zip like that. Some do move a little bit slower and some move faster. Some are fast and bright, some are dim and slow, some are dim and bright. Some leave trails, but those are few and far between. But these satellite thingies, whatever they are, you can see them any clear night. Now, if you heard of the midnight sun at the North Pole, right? If you're above the Arctic Circle in the summertime, the Earth is tipped over like this, and the sun always shines on this one little area because as the Earth spins, the sun never gets to set. It never gets eclipsed by the sun. So if it's a satellite and it's 100 miles up, it's always going to be in sunlight. And that's why I think when I point at the North Pole, I can see these circumpolar orbiting satellites. And there's dozens and dozens and dozens of them. And this is what I want you to notice in this video. Now, my movie program is going to compress this a little bit, and when it gets uploaded on the web, YouTube, or whoever else gets the video, they're going to do their magic to and maybe compress it. Now, YouTube lets you download the video, so if you want to see it in its full 720 glory, you can download the video and look at it. But if there is a lot of grain, oh, absolutely. And I had to put it in grayscale mode because if I left it in color mode, all you'd see is blotches of color on top of the noise. So I nixed the color, right? All I was interested in, there are the fixed stars that rotate by the parent rotation of the Earth, right? And then there's these meteors, which you'll see a lot of. Regular airplanes, which, you could see this captures sound, so you hear the engines. You can see the bright lights, they'll be overexposed, right? But then these little dim lights, and they keep going all night. Oh, Starlink has 8,000 satellites in orbit, and they want to launch thousands more. China has 2 programs where they want to launch tens of thousands of satellites. Plus there's GPS from the United States, Europe, and Russia. There's other satellites, known and unknown. Suppose this one points somewhat to the, say I'm pointing at the North Pole, I'm looking northeast, right? This will see a lot less of these little dots over and over again, one after another. Sometimes there'll be 4 or 5 on the screen all at once. And like I said, they're very dim dots and they move very slow. And if you want, you could go into, click the gear on your player and put it in 2x. Then we see something interesting, you can always pause it, go back, play it in reduced speed. That's what I do all the time. So I'm just giving you a background what this is all about. So I picked this video, which is from a couple of nights ago, and around 11 o'clock at night, EDT, which is daylight savings time. And here's these little lights. Just check it out. What does this mean? What are they? I don't know. They're unidentified. Technically, they're unidentified. You know, there's some sort of aerial phenomena. I'm guessing that they're circumpolar orbiting satellites, but there seem to be so many of them. So many of them. As opposed, if I point this to, like I said, the east or the south or some other direction, you won't see as many. And that's because, the closer you are to the equator, the more the Earth is going to block the sun, correct? So if a satellite is in the equatorial orbit, the sun's going to, block, the Earth is going to block the sun and you're not going to see it. So I'm guessing that all these little dots are reflecting off, are sunlight reflecting off satellites. So I know that's a long-winded explanation, but let's jump into the video, and then you can decide what the hell's going on, because I don't know. You see that little dot moving from left to right? It's going upwards. So it came from like almost the center left, and now it's going towards the top right. That's what we're going to see through this video. Lots and lots of these. And you never used to see these, like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. There's another one moving from left to right, heading up towards the top of your screen. I mean, they're just coming right after each other. I'm going to shout some out, but some I'm not going to shout out. You can see there's a coma in the corners. That's from the wide-angle adapter. And there's also vignetting or vignetting in the corners. And this is like a one-click magnification, because if I didn't, it would look even worse. Yes, there's a lot of noise, but this is, you're actually seeing stars in live time. Up, there's another one. It's going from left to right, sort of in an upward direction. So Elon Musk started this with his Starlink. And when he first used to launch them, they used to be, there's two right there. They're right next to each other. You see that? So you could watch them. 6 of them would move in tandem across the night sky. And if you took a time exposure, there'd be 6 streaks in the sky. And that's the thing. If you're not guiding your astrophotos, if you're using the high ISO and a fast lens, and you could get away with 6 seconds without the stars moving, these things would still move, and they would leave little streaks in your pictures. There's another one moving from left to right, heading towards the top of your screen. There's a lot of dim meteors too, because I did a lot of astronomy, and I do it unguided, so I use high ISO, the fast lens, and short shutter speeds, maybe 8 seconds, depending on the focal length of your lens. And the stars remain dots, but a meteor would leave a streak. Now there's another one, going from left to right, heading towards the top of your screen. And there's another one, and another one. So there's 3 of these dots moving across the screen right now as we're looking at it. So right now, if you wanted to take star fields photos of the North Pole region, you couldn't, because they all have these little lines in them from all these satellites or whatever they are. Well, it's my theory that just like the midnight sun, if you're above the Arctic Circle, the North Pole, and it's summertime, well, since the Earth is tilted in its orbit, and in the summer it's facing the sun, well, everything's lit up. But if you're a satellite, and if you're 100 feet up, well, then you're always getting sunlight. So you say, well, what about ones that are rotating around the equator? Well, the sun blocks light from reflecting off these satellites, so you can't see them. There's one going left to right across the center of the screen. That's the Big Dippers to the lower left corner. Cassiopeia area would be towards the upper right corner. So the left side of your screen would be west, and the right side of your screen would be east. Unfortunately, the bottom and top of your screen are both heading in the southern direction because I'm looking at Polaris, which is at the celestial North Pole. There's one going up from left to right, and there's one going down from left to right. That's all you see. And there's another one going across the screen from left to right also. That's all you see. Now, where I live, I'm 35 air miles from New York City. The sky never gets dark unless there's a blackout, right? So otherwise everything's all lit up. The sky's dark gray. And I could see the brighter stars, like the brighter stars that are real bright ones, and all those dimmer stars, nothing, right? So with the unaided eye, I can't see these little things flitting around, especially since this camera catches infrared. And I guess even as the satellites are reflecting sunlight, they have to be reflecting the heat from the sun also. So if I have a pair of binoculars and I was constantly scanning the sky, I could pick them up visually. And I've done that. And there's two types of objects you see. One would be an airplane or a jet plane, and you can see the blinking red and green lights, and they'd be very small and close together, because the wings would be so small at that distance. And others would just be a tiny dot moving even at 10 or 20 power. There's another one going up towards the top of your screen. No meteors. I guess in 15 minutes in a large swath of sky, no meteors. Now there are other things like lightning bugs, although there haven't been too many lightning bugs this year. A lot of ticks. But there's one from going upper left to lower bottom. There's another one going across the screen towards the top. So there's all sorts of them all going one after another. You don't have to wait that long to see them. It's just this thing, the sky is filled with these UFOs. That they are unidentified flying objects, or you could say they're UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. I mean, at this resolution, you can't tell if they are. There's another one going from left to right, heading towards the top. There's another one towards on your right-hand side of the screen, going from bottom to the top right, sort of in the middle now. Now, if I have another camera, same type of camera, and it has a wide-angle adapter on it, but I was pointing it more towards the north-northwest, and you don't see as many of these dots as you see here. But there's another one in the center of the screen, but towards the top of the screen. I have a Gen 3 night vision device that you can hook up to a DSLR, and it's green, and I guess it has more sensitivity, but I run it in black and white mode, and it's cumbersome, and it costs a lot of money. So I end up using this thing. The first one I bought was discounted from $800 to $600. There's another one crossing the middle of the screen going towards the top of the screen. And there's one above that. And there's another one coming in from the left, heading down a little bit. How about that? I mean, it's a never-ending parade of these things. So the SIOnyx aurora was originally $800, but it was discounted $600. So I bought it and I dabbled with it. And then I said, yeah, this is really interesting, looking for satellites, still looking for meteors. There's a dim one coming across from left to right. But then, SIOnyx, I dropped their prices or something. I guess whoever wants one's got one. And it was like under $300. And it came with a case, a clamshell case, and some dumb accessories. There's a bright one going from the top left to the bottom right, sort of in the a little above center right now. I think the brighter ones are probably high-flying aircraft. These dimmer ones that are just at the verge of detectability, those are probably definitely satellites. All right, look at there, like those two are getting across. See, there's two they're really close. One's going left to right, one's going down. And you see up there's another one at the top of the screen. One after another. They do have satellite tracking things. I've seen those ephemerides where they have a list of where to go out and look for the satellites, but there's so many of them. And it's not just this night was a special night, it's any night. I have lots and lots of these videos where there's this stuff crisscrossing the polar region, the celestial polar region. I don't know how it is in Antarctica, but I would imagine that if these things are going around the Earth from north to south, you could probably see them from in Antarctica. There's one going from bottom to top. It's just crossing the center of the screen. Lots and lots of them. This one is at 7.5 frames per second, as opposed to my normal is 15 frames per second. You get a little bit more sensitivity. See it a little deeper. Now you got to realize that I'm making a movie, and my movie program is probably doing something like compressing it. And when I upload it to the web, whatever company I upload it to, whether it's Rumble or BitChute or YouTube, they're going to do their algorithm and maybe squish it some more. But YouTube has a downloader, where if you like a video, you can download it. There's another dim one towards the top of the screen, heading from left to right. And you'll get to see the best quality. Now, I understand that this isn't, shall we say, a clean video. There's a lot of noise in it. But, I mean, you know, I don't know what to say. For the price, you know, I think it's excellent. I haven't dabbled in it. Yeah, I may spend big bucks, but I'm not. See, basically, I'm looking for meteors and shooting stars, bolides, fireballs, stuff of that nature. And of course, if a UFO flies across the screen, the UFO would have to come in really quick, come to a dead stop, and then a second later shoot up at a 90-degree angle, and then you know that would be a UFO. Of course, people have drones and spoof you. These little dots, they're not drones. I mean, who would fly all these drones at 11 o'clock at night? There's another one going from left to right. Most of them seem to be coming from left to right. They seem to be going from a lower right to an upper right. Oh, you see that meteor? That was a meteor. Wow, that was cool. Fast and dim. There's another one towards the right-hand side of the screen, and it's going up towards the top. A lot of activity. Not too many meteors, but a lot of these satellites or whatever they are. There's another going from left to right. And behind that, there's another one, almost like it's following it. Yeah, maybe they're Starlink. You know, the Chinese want their own Starlink. Starlink has 8,000 satellites up already. If they're all low Earth, there's a bright one. Where did that one come from? It's heading from right to left, upper left. That was a pretty bright one. But satellites do that. If they're in the Earth's shadow, then all of a sudden they'll pop out into the sunlight and they blaze out. So Starlink has 8,000 satellites, and I think they want to send up a whole bunch more. But the Chinese, they want their satellites, they want tens of thousands of them. And imagine how many you'll see then. I guess that's sky pollution, right, in a way. There's another one. See how many there are? Now the Chinese, they have two systems. They wanted to send up tens of thousands for each. Russia has some of theirs, and Europe has their satellites too for GPS, and there's American GPS too. So there's all these satellites up there. It's amazing. Come to think of it, this 10 years ago, there almost used to be nothing. And even going back into the 80s, seeing a satellite was like, ooh, that was a big deal. I saw a satellite. But now it's like they're a dime a dozen. Now, I would have to go drive 2 hours away, 3 hours away to find a dark spot away from big cities. And maybe you could see all these by eye. And I used to scan the sky with binoculars, like 10x binoculars or 20x, and I would just pick them up randomly. There's another dim one coming from left to right. There seems to be a track there. It's from the center left to the upper center. There's a heading, sort of. A lot of them, one right after another. So I just want to share this with people who maybe they don't know it. And you can buy this equipment so cheap now. If this intrigues you, or you want to double check that I'm not faking this, I don't know, but I have to have AI say, oh, make sure you put a lot of noise in it, and make sure these little dots are so dim you can barely see them. I guess you could grok it or something, right? So basically what I do is I put this on a tripod, I point it at the North Pole, I hit the button, then I go inside, and I come out. It depends. If I'm energetic, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, maybe once every half hour. And it uses, I have a bunch of batteries. Now there's one, that one, look how bright that was. Okay, sort of came out of nowhere. And see how the brightness is varying? How it was bright and now it's getting dim? What is that? Well, could that be a lightning bug? I don't know, lightning bugs is usually, did I just see another meteor shoot on the right side, the left side of the screen there? So it's just, see how it got bright again? It's almost at the top. So satellites do that. They sort of, some of them spin or tumble, or what you want to say. And it all depends how big the satellites are. Some satellites are small, and they would tend to be dimmer, and some could be big, and they would reflect more light. A big satellite that has big solar panels on it, well, I guess that would just look brighter.